Hello and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to be looking at string functions in SQL. And so if you aren't aware, we've already begun our series on SQL for data analytics, and we are done with our series on Power BI for data analytics. You can check that out right after this video. So let's delve right in. Now, string functions. With string functions, there are so many string functions, alright? And string functions help you to do a number and tons of activities. Imagine you have a data set with first name and a last name. Alright, you have first name, last name, and then other columns. Alright, now your manager wants you to just group the first name and the last name together. How are you going to do it? Now, string function helps you to do this. Another thing that you can also do is imagine you have a data set with the data set scattered all over the place. Maybe there is some particular column that has mixed lower cases and upper cases in those particular columns. Now you can use string functions to clean them up nicely. Alright, and so string functions probably they help the most in the data cleaning process in SQL. Alright, they help you to get your data cleaning perfect, alright, or your data set in good shape during the data cleaning phase. Alright, and so there are tons and tons of things that you can do with the string functions in SQL. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at a few of them. In subsequent videos, we are going to look at a bit more like the replace, the substring, pass name, and all of those. All right. But today's video, we're just going to focus on these few ones. All right, as we get used to what string functions are really about and to understanding how we can use them. Okay, and so these are the string functions we are looking at today: the length, the upper, the lower, the trim, the left, the right, and the concat. All right. So when we say length, all right, the length string function, what does it really do? All right. So imagine you have a data set, okay, and in the data set you have something like telephone numbers, a column for telephone numbers, or figures, all right, any figures, and your manager says that, all right, these particular figures or these telephone numbers are not supposed to exceed a length of 12. All right, they're not supposed to exceed a length of 12. So after cleaning your data set, how do you ensure that this particular column that the figures in are not supposed to exceed the number of 12 are actually correct? All right, so that you can determine whether there's one that exceeded 12 to 13 or was lower than 12 to 11 or 10, and then in such cases you can do what? You can probably work around it well. All right, and so in view of this, you can do what we call the length to illustrate that. So assuming this particular column, let me see, assuming let's use a column like this, or let's use a column like customer ID. Okay, and let's say that, all right, so each and every column that exceeds about 1 2 3 4 5, all right, about 5 length. All right, the items are over 5 length. We are just assuming for the sake of this database that those particular items are wrongfully imputed. All right, and so in this case, how do we just identify that there are some items in this particular column that exceeds 5 letters, all right, or 5 alphabets or numbers or whatever you. And so in view of them, you can use the length. All right, and so what we can do is we can say select, in that particular column customer ID. All right, then we can say length, all right, customer ID, all right, from marketing. All right, so this will give us the number of items that are found in this particular column. All right, so if I execute this is what you are going to see, that is showing that in this particular column there are only 5 items, all right, or there are 5 letters or 5 numbers or whatever. The length of this particular item is 5. Okay, and so it's showing that. And then when we scroll down, you're obviously going to see so it shows that for all this particular column, the items in there do not exceed 5. All right, and so if you happen to see a case where the items in there exceeds 5, then you know there's something wrong with that particular column or that particular item bracket. All right, and then you can work around it. Okay, and so this is one way to use this. All right, now let's go back. So this is how you use the length. All right, use the length to know how many figures, how many items, or the length of items in columns. All right. Now, all right. So that is how you can use the length. All right, the length in string functions. All right. So now let's move on to the upper. So assuming there's this particular column, the state column. All right, like I'll always almost use. So the state column. Now you can see the state column. We have the items in proper form. All right, meaning the first letter is in caps. Now the remaining are in small letters, so this is improper. But imagine there are instances whereby all the items under the stage column are in small letters. So your manager doesn't want that. You want all the items to be in capital letters, all right? And so if you want the items in capital letters, what do? You use what we call the upper, you use what we call the upper in SQL, all right? To format that particular column in order to have everything in the uppercase, all right? So how do we do that as well? Now, just like with the length, we can also say select state, all right, and then I'm going to type alpha, and you're going to say state, all right, from marketing. Okay, so now once we have this, we are going to highlight this and we are going to execute. So now what I'm going to say is that now you're going to transform everything from the proper form all to the capital letters or to upper cases. All right, and so this is how, if you want your items or your column, the items in your column to be in capital letters, this is how you can do it, by writing your select statement and then using the upper clause. All right, and likewise you can use, if perhaps you don't want everything in the uppercase and you want them in the lowercase as well, you can use the lower. All right, you can use lower as well right over here, and this is just going to do the same exact thing but the reverse. All right, so it's going to change everything into small letters, all right, or into lowercase. Okay, and so this is how you can use the upper and then the lower in your data cleaning. Now when we talk about trim just removes the empty spaces that come before or after items in a particular column. All right, and so let's say you have something like armor, but then there are some unwanted spaces, all right, coming before that particular armor, or unwanted space coming after the armor. You can as well just use the trim, and it's the similar thing, it's the same thing. You can just type select trim. All right, we are going to say state, yeah, select trim state, or select state. All right, trim, okay, state, all right, from marketing. And then once you are done with this, if there are some spaces, any unwanted spaces, once you highlight and you do this, it's going to remove all the unwanted spaces. And so in subsequent videos where we are doing proper data cleaning, we'll probably do one for you to see. All right, yeah, all right, so now let's continue. Let's move on to what we call the left and then the right. All right, now how do you use the left and then the right? Okay, so assuming there's let's say you have, let me use this particular column, the sign up column. All right, now what the left and the right you can use it for is that, let's say you want only the 2024, only the year column, or you want only this, which is only the date, the day column. All right, now you can use the left and the right to just derive this particular information without having to alter anything from this particular column. Okay, so how do you do this? All right, so let's say this particular column, we just want the year of it. All right, we just want the year. All right, and you can see that the year has 4 characters. All right, so, and it's all at the left side. All right, so if it's at the left side of this, of the particular item, then we are going to use the left column. But if what we want is at the right side, then we are going to use what we call the right function. All right, and so in this case, because we want only the year, which is the left, we are going to use the left. All right, I'm going to say select, so let's say sign up. All right, sign up date. All right, sign up date. All right, and I'm going to use left because I only want the year. All right, sign up date left, and I'm going to put in the sign up date. All right, and then I'm going to put the number of characters. All right, so it says number of characters, and so number of characters is 1 2 3 4. Don't forget, so once you use the left and you input the particular column name, the number of characters that we want, so we want the 4 characters, the first 4 characters from the left, which is 1 2 3 4. So now I'm going to put in 4 over here, and I'm going to close this. I'm going to say from marketing. All right, and so now when I execute this, it's going to show me only the year. All right, it's going to show me only the year. Okay, so it's taking everything from the first 4 characters from the left side of this particular item, all right, and it's returning them for me, all right. So this is how you use it. Now likewise, if we are using the right, let's say we only want these two, then I'm going to say select sign name and I'm going to say right, all right. I'm going to say right, and then in this case I don't want the 4, I want just the first 2 from this because I want the day. And so when I select this and now I highlight this is just going to give me the first 2 from this particular item or column. This is what is going to return from this particular column, all right. And then I can name this my weekday or my day, all right. So this is how you can use the left and the right. And the last one we are going to be looking at is going to be the concat, yeah. Okay, so concat. So what does a concat function do? All right, what does a concat function do? All right, so let me go back here and show you. So what a concat does is that it helps you to bring 2 columns together. All right, so assuming you have a column that has just first name and a column that has last name, all right, and you want to join those 2 columns together to have full name, all right, as a column, all right, so that you can just remove the first name and the last name column in order to just get one column that has full name, all right. So what you do is that you use what we call the concat function, string function in SQL to do that, all right. So the concat function helps you to bring 2 particular column items together as one. So I have, if for instance, or for example, my name is Meshach, my first name is Meshach, all right, and my last name is Kwanzaa, all right, and I have 2 columns for it, where I have one column being my first name being Meshach, then in the second column being my second name or my surname being Kwanzaa. I can say, all right, so I have first name and last name, but I don't want it like this. I just want one column which is going to have full name. So in that particular column, I'm going to have what we call Meshach Kwanzaa, all right, as my full name. Now to do this, you can use what we call the concat in SQL to bring these 2 columns together, all right. So how do we do this? So let's assume you have this column state and acquisition channel, all right, and I want to bring the state and acquisition channel together, all right. So like I said, we can use what we call the concat to do that. So let me show you how that is done. We are going to say select, all right, we are going to say select concat. So this is a function, select concat. We are going to say state. Now look at this, state, okay, and then acquisition channel, all right, from marketing, and this is it. So now if I highlight this and I execute, you are going to see that it's bringing them together, all right. It's bringing the 2 columns, the 2 columns that we have here, all right, which is state and acquisition channel. So you can see state here and acquisition channel. So in the first column we are going to have Abuja USSD, and that is what we're having right over here. All right, that's what we're having right over here, Abuja USSD. So this is how the concat function works. However, you can see that this is not exactly how we want it, all right. This is exactly how we want it. At least we want it to be separated with a comma or with a space or with a hyphen, all right. And so another thing you can do is that after you've written your select concat state, what you can do is that you need to add another clause to it. And you can do this by, just to what clause do you want? Do you want it to be separated by a comma? You can do that right away, all right. And then like so, all right. And then if I select this or I highlight this, sorry, and I execute, now you can see that now there's a comma separating them, all right. Likewise, if I just don't need a comma, but I want something like a hyphen to separate them, I can do that as well, and I can execute, and there's going to be a hyphen. Now, if I want a comma and a space, I can just do comma and a space, all right. And then I'm going to highlight this and execute this, and this is going to show. And so this is how to use a concat function in SQL. So if something that you enjoyed, be sure to follow in my next video, and I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. And so like I always say, be sure to like, subscribe, all right, share this video, comment down below if there's anything that you'd like to add. And yes, I'll tell you once again, do what to take care of yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one, all right.